Girls, what was the most obvious hint you dropped, and the guy just didn't get it? We were playing life and he was a police officer. The rule is, if you spin a 10, he gets your speeding fines. I literally pulled open my button down and exposed my breasts and said, what can I do to get out of paying this? He said, Mom, I am an officer of the law. Are you trying to prostitute yourself to me? A couple days of flirting and sexual innuendo later, I literally had to spell out that I was trying to fuck him. We've been together 6 years now. Guy here was invited back to study by one of the girls in my class at her apartment. We're about half HR in and she says she might take a shower. I'm like, okay, kinda random, but okay. Anyway, she starts telling me the door to the shower is broken so don't come in. Says it 3 or 4 more times. Again. I'm like, okay, weird, she's said that multiple times, but okay. HR later, the shower is still running. I can hear her singing and humming away, so I know she's okay and hasn't drowned. Thinking, gee, that's a long shower though. Water goes off and she comes out dressed and says, you didn't come in? I'm confused as I'm like, WTF, she told me not to. She sits back down, clearly distracted and not wanting to study. We wrap up after 5 minutes. Drive home. Mate asks me how study was about a week later and the situation, which I hadn't given a single brain cell of thought to since. I explain to him. As I'm saying it out loud, the penny drops as to what a big fuckhead I am. I asked a guy on a festival to come take a shower with me. He didn't get it. He just repeated there was only one free shower and I was like, well, they are big, I'm sure it's fine, and he just looked confused and told me I could go first. We became close friends since that happened about 2 years ago, and this summer I spoke to him about it and he really had no idea. He did the biggest facepum I've ever seen. Before my boyfriend asked me out, he kept hinting at the fact that we were both single and everyone though we would be cute together. I was like, haha, yeah, not realizing he was trying to ask me out. I'm not as brutally upfront as some of these people, but mine happened yesterday. How do I know a girl is flirting with me? He asks. She touches you a lot while you two are talking. I cannot relate at all. That never happens to me. I'm sure it does. I tell him and hit his arm. I can't think of any time that's ever happened. For Valentine's a couple of years ago, I mailed my husband a package. The note said, and I quote, I want you now. I was ready to spring into some extra fun sexy time whenever he opened the package. I had to sit him down and explain a couple of hours later. He was like, oh. On our first date, my current boyfriend and I went out to dinner, to a bar, and eventually back to his house to watch scary movies. After hanging out for almost 8 hours at that point, practically cuddling into him the entire time we were watching movies, dropping as many hints as I could. Around 3 AM when we were both fighting to stay awake, I finally had to look his dumbass in the eye and ask, so are you going to kiss me or not? Though he was totally oblivious. It did show his good heart. He was about to let me fall asleep on his couch and spend the night without even trying to kiss me. I knew he was a keeper after that. Guy here, but once had a girl drag me into the bathroom while at a college party saying she needed help finding her marker pen. We didn't find it and I figured out what was really going on a year later. When I was about 35, I lived in a beach town near a university. My neighbors were all college kids. Next door was 2 college girls. One was always flirting with me. One hit summer day, she turned up at my door in nothing but a long t-shirt. She asked if she could hang out in the account. I said sure, and she came over to the sofa I was sitting long ways on and laid with her back to my chest and asked if we could snuggle. I was okay with that. She then asked me to rub her belly, which I did. As you can imagine, after about an hour, I was getting a little worked up and touched her breast. While rubbing her belly, she jumped up and stormed out. I was like, WTF. She later said she didn't see me like that. I asked her why she'd show up almost naked, lay between my legs like couples do, and ask me to rub her belly and then get pissed when I try to progress things. She said she looks at me like a big brother. I was like, WTF is your family like? I had a girl invite me round her house once just to show me her posters. They were all of Harley Davidson motorbikes, and she said she's never ridden a Harley before. Awkward silence, and after a few other sort bits of small talk I decided to be on my way. 2 years later I'm sitting on the bus and realize what she meant. Harley. Ridden a Harley. My name is Holly. One time a girl straight up asked if I wanted to take my pants off and I didn't get it. I was like, nah, they're actually not uncomfortable at all. I'm the guy in this situation, but I couldn't help not sharing this story. In college, this girl I was really into asked if I wanted to hang out at my dorm and drink and watch Netflix. She came over and we were watching and drinking on the couch in the living room. Per my suggestion, things are going good, and about an hour into it she says, ooh, lemme see your room. So we go to my room. She takes her shoes and socks off and immediately sprawls herself out on my bed and says, oh my god, your bed is so comfortable. I responded with, we live in the same building. It's the same bed as yours. She left about 10 minutes later. Literally said, I want to be yours, and the dude just keeps smiling and goes on about random space facts. That one hurt a bit. He told me my hair looked nice. I said, bet it would look nicer with your hands in it. He said, in a very confused tone, comma, you want me to style your hair? Edit. Glad one of y'all thought my mixed signals was worth silver. We were talking about canoes and I said I'm like a canoe because I'm wet and you can go inside me, and he said canoes aren't really wet. Edit. Some PPL think he was rejecting me, but we ended up dating for 2 years. When my boyfriend and I had just started dating, we were laying down watching a movie, but this was a small bed and he was being respectful and giving me space. I kept wiggling backwards so I could get closer to him and he kept inching backwards too. Since he thought I was just trying to get comfortable and he was in the way, he ended up sitting in a chair next to the bed. 3 years later we are still together, and I still think it's pretty funny. He told me that when he was in the chair he purposefully left his hand next to me in case I wanted to hold it, but I guess I missed that sign too. He didn't get out of the bed because he was uncomfortable. He truly thought he was taking up too much space and didn't realize I was trying to cuddle. I threw my panties at him and he kept explaining God of War lore. A couple of weeks ago, to my boyfriend of 3 years, me, undresses and lays naked on the couch, waiting to bone. Him, makes dumb joke, oh you're naked, that's so weird. Me, dies a little bit inside. Edit. Thanks for my first award, guys. Glad some people thought this was funny. After chatting for hours on top of a mountain from sunset until like 2 AM, sharing a blanket, me leaning my head on his shoulder, telling him he's attractive, etc., he turns to me and says, how do you tell if a girl is into you? Before we started dating, I told my current boyfriend I love you and he said, oh I love you too, you're such a good friend. The whole time we thought we were both friends owning each other. Wasted half a year going in circles SMH. Just a short message from today's sponsor. If you like meme merch, Beautiful Halo is the best place to buy. Click the link in the description to take advantage of the discount and the free worldwide shipping. Choose from over 10,000 designs. Do it now.